So let's talk about the ketogenic diet. It's that diet that tells you to do the one thing we've all been told to avoid our entire lives: eat more fat.
It sounds completely backward, right? Could loading up on fat actually be the secret to burning off your body fat? Well, that's the wild paradox at the heart of the keto diet, so let's get into it.
Okay, so what is it really? At its core, the keto diet is all about being very low carb, high fat, and having a moderate amount of protein. But let's be real about what that means. The goal is simple, but it's pretty radical. You basically slash your carb intake and replace almost all of it with fat.
So, how on earth does that actually work inside your body? Well, it's all about flipping a fundamental switch in your metabolism. Here's the best way to think about it. Imagine your body is a fancy hybrid car. Now, normally, it loves running on gasoline because it's easy and fast. And for us, that gasoline is carbs. But what happens when you take all the gas away? The car has no choice. It's forced to switch over to its powerful electric battery. And for your body, that backup battery, that's your stored fat. And this whole process, this state that your body enters, that's what we call ketosis. When your body is starved of carbs, your liver jumps into action. It starts breaking down fat and turning it into these little molecules called ketones. And these ketones, they become the brand new fuel source for your entire body, and this is the really cool part, for your brain too.
So, how do you actually make this switch happen? Well, it kind of happens in 4 stages. First, you have to drastically cut your carbs. We're talking under 50 grams a day, which is less than a single cup of rice. After that, your body burns through all its leftover sugar stores. That's the signal for your liver to kick into gear and start producing ketones. And then finally, your body and your brain adapt and start running on this new fuel.
Okay, so that's the science. It makes sense. But what does this actually look like when you sit down for dinner? What's on the plate?
Right. So you can pretty much forget everything you learned about the old food pyramid. On keto, this is your new guide. A whopping 75% of your daily calories come from fat. Protein is about 20%, and that leaves this tiny 5% sliver for carbs. And trust me, getting this ratio right is absolutely everything if you want to stay in ketosis.
So what are you actually eating? Well, your plate is going to be full of things like meats, fatty fish like salmon, eggs, butter, healthy oils, avocados, all that good stuff, plus low-carb veggies. But, and this is a big but, you have to say goodbye to pretty much all grains, sugar, starchy veggies like potatoes and corn, and yeah, even most fruits and beans. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This just sounds like another one of those modern diet fads. But keto actually has a surprisingly long and very serious medical history. Let's take a look at the evidence. The core idea isn't new at all. It goes all the way back to ancient Greece, where they used fasting to treat epilepsy. But it wasn't until the 1920s that the ketogenic diet was officially developed as a clinical therapy for seizures. It really only hit the mainstream for weight loss in the 1990s, thanks to groups like the Charlie Foundation bringing it back into the spotlight. And you know what? Modern science is showing some pretty impressive results. Check out this data from a recent pilot trial. Over just 4 months, people on a keto diet saw their body weight drop by an average of 12%. But look at this number, a 36% drop in visceral fat. That's the really dangerous stuff that's packed around your organs. That's a huge deal. And the research doesn't stop there. Studies also show it's really effective for weight loss, often with people feeling less hungry than on other diets. Some studies have seen insulin sensitivity improve by up to 75%. That's incredible. Plus, there's a lot of promising research looking into how it might help with neurological conditions like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
Okay, but it is not all sunshine and avocados. This is a very restrictive diet, and it comes with some very real challenges and health considerations that you have to know about. First things first, anyone thinking about starting has to be ready for something called the keto flu. It's this tough, but usually temporary, transition period while your body is freaking out a little bit as it gets used to burning fat instead of its usual supply of carbs. So what does that actually feel like? Well, it's not fun. We're talking headaches, brain fog, feeling tired and irritable, maybe even nausea. You can basically think of it as your body going through withdrawal from its long-term addiction to carbs. And beyond that initial rough patch, there are more serious long-term risks to think about. When you cut out entire food groups, you can end up with nutrient deficiencies. It can increase your risk of kidney stones, and depending on the kinds of fats you're eating, it could raise your bad cholesterol. But honestly, maybe the biggest challenge of all is just sticking to it. This is an incredibly tough diet to follow for the long haul.
So after hearing all of that, the good, the bad, the science, what's the final takeaway here? How should we really think about the ketogenic diet?
I think this quote from the Journal of Nutrition really puts it into perspective. It says that a well-formulated keto diet can be considered a first-line approach for obesity and diabetes. That word choice is key. It's framing keto not as some trendy diet, but as a serious, legitimate therapeutic tool.
So here's the bottom line. The keto diet is a powerful metabolic tool. It is not a casual lifestyle choice. It can produce amazing, scientifically backed results, but because it's so restrictive, it carries real risks. And that's exactly why professional guidance isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely crucial.
Which really leaves us with just one final question to think about. For you personally, is this powerful tool worth the trade-off?